Can you tell me about you and your background, all about yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm India May, and I'm a registered nurse. I work as a death investigator in Chickasaw County, and I'm a library director.
Excellent. So then, what made you want to run for office then? Have being a nurse and going to run for a state office, I'm sure that's switching a dynamic there.
Yeah, a little bit unexpected, but I went to a town hall with my current representative, Charlie Thompson, and Senator Sandy Salmon to defend the libraries against some pretty egregious censorship bills and to explain the case for why we all have an existing policy for the removal of obscene materials and why we don't need a statewide law for this. Um, and they would not see a reason. And it was just really frustrating. And I realized when I looked through all of the legislation that they had been pushing for, that I didn't agree with anything. It was really punching down at vulnerable people and unnecessary. So I wanted to help, and I reached out to the Democratic groups in my area, and I was asking people who had run in the past, and they are wonderful people, good-hearted, and they told me, you should do it. So with their blessing, I am going to give it my best possible effort.
So then, of course, we've noticed you go to a lot of town halls and you stream them on TikTok and post things on social media. So, what makes you want to go to these town halls and hear from people?
Well, I've been sort of making it a new hobby to attend all the events that I possibly can to advocate for people who are getting hurt by this legislation. So I attend protests with my Indivisible group, and I go to these town halls any chance I get. It's my uh, American hobby. It's the great American pastime, protesting and attending town halls. So I live stream on pda.iowa. That's our TikTok account. It's the Progressive Democrats of America, Iowa chapter. And our whole goal is to find people kind of like me that wouldn't normally run for office, but have a mission and to encourage them to take office from school board all the way to Senate. It's all very valuable. And our goal is a progressive mentality, which is focusing on free healthcare, affordable and accessible education, and protections for vulnerable people in our community.
So, of course, then last week you went to Joni Ernst Town Hall and there was a interaction you had with her there. So, can you kind of walk me through how that happened and your response to everything?
Yes, I went there to live stream everything, beginning to end, and the crowd was just getting really upset. The questions were so eloquent. My friend Jen asked about what is your vote for the one big beautiful bill that would hurt healthcare for us? And Joni said over and over, well, we're not cutting anyone's healthcare. But if we do, it'll only be illegal immigrants, and we know they don't qualify for Medicaid, Medicare, and SNAP and all this. So it was just so frustrating that she wasn't hearing us, that I shouted out, people will die. And she directly dismissed my concerns by saying, well, we're all going to die. It was um, not shocking considering all of the things that she had said, so many egregious things throughout this town hall, but it was really disappointing.
I'm sure. And then that comment has made its rounds even nationally. And then, of course, her apology that followed. So, what was your reaction seeing that video where she seemed to kind of have a sarcastic tone walking through a graveyard through it?
Yeah, that was the part that really shocked me. I would expect better from somebody who will be expecting to be reelected next year, and that really causes me some concern.
And then this is even just yesterday. There were some reporters that were walking with her down a hallway at Capitol Hill, and somebody asked about her comments on Medicaid, and she said there was $543 billion of improper payments in Medicaid over the course of the last 10 years. We have to address it. And then later they asked, do you stand by the video you posted? And she said, yes, absolutely. So is that a shock to hear that from her, a week after those initial comments?
I suppose if she's going to double down, she's going to triple down.
You know, always something new, I guess. So now we can kind of shift back gears then to your campaign. So you got a year and a half now until the election. So kind of walk me through what that process is going to be like moving forward.
Well, we have lots of things in store. My goal is to make myself accessible to everybody in district, to really teach me what they care about. I have so much to learn going forward. I'm not a politician, so I signed up for the free online Harvard class for constitutional law, and I'm just taking in every bit of information I can. I'm a librarian. I'm a researcher. I can't stop. So learning all I can and really listening and taking in to heart the needs of the people in my community because I might think I know what needs to be done and I have an inkling from my profession, but there's so much more out there I can learn. So my goal is to schedule town hall sort of events at libraries because that's where I feel most comfortable. So you can expect to see me make my rounds probably this winter when things settle down a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure, like we were just talking about how you were so booked and busy today, with all of this has happened with Senator Ernst. So, I guess what's your, I guess, opinion or perspective, being known as the person who yelled "People will die" and kind of sparked this whole, I guess, controversy.
I didn't anticipate the outpouring of support that I would receive. I did not intend to capitalize on yelling in public. That's not really my personality. Um, but we need people using all methods possible to speak out for vulnerable people. And if it's not us, then who will it be? And if it's not now, then when will we do it? So I've just been really honored by the number of people who have come out and messaged me their stories and how Medicaid helped them survive and stay out of debt. And nobody should be choosing between debt and death in the richest, best country in the world. So I'm just honored to be a part of this. It's been very controversial. I've had some pushback too, and I'm open to discuss as long as conversations are respectful. People who disagree with me or have evidence I don't have are very welcome to reach out as well.
And I'm sure you have an interesting perspective as a healthcare worker as well. So, with everything in this Medicaid topic and all the cuts and things. So, I guess walk me through then your take on everything.
Yeah, I have so many thoughts. So Iowa is facing what I call a silent crisis in mental health care. And I worked as a mental health nurse, a healthcare coordinator in an institution. And then I helped with KU. They have a project called the Going Home Project that was COVID funded, the grant money that helped us to deinstitutionalize people. So I created teaching content that would help them use technology to self-manage their own health. And part of that is mental health. So I am very passionate about advocating for mental health services. And we have the worst rated mental health system in the nation here in Iowa. And I'd like to change that. And I have a few action items. If you want to read about my priorities, you can check it out on my website, mayforiowa.com. Click on the issues, and I break it down with education, healthcare, agriculture, and social issues. So there's so much to talk about. But yeah, seeing that. And then the other side is tragically working as a death investigator. I have seen too many preventable deaths that I would like to make changes so that it never happens here.
And then, so your district is District 58 up north. So what's your message to the people in your community who may come from a different political background than you that may disagree? What's your message to the people in your neighborhoods?
Oh gosh, I have had some interactions that really in person, face to face, respectful conversations means so much to me. I can learn from the people who disagree with me. It's not all ideologies. There's real facts that we can discuss, and we should absolutely share information. I'm always open. Please teach me and let me share my ideas with you as well in an open discussion. Please meet up with me in person at the libraries when I schedule visits. Stay tuned. I'll be sharing that on my website once those get scheduled.
Is there anything that I maybe didn't ask that you wanted to share or anything you didn't get to say?
Well, I'd like to invite anybody who is a good-natured, competent, hardworking, incorruptible person to consider running for office. It is a huge risk right now, and it takes a lot of bandwidth, and I understand the challenges, trust me, but we really need people to step up and step into positions of leadership that are just rock stars at heart. That's what we're looking for. So please, if you have any experience with leadership, or even if you don't, and you think that you may be able to lend, even if it's a school board position, it doesn't have to be, Senate, but I would just invite anybody to consider it now more than ever.
Why is now the time then to kind of expand on that thought?
We're seeing an increase of legislation that's just punching down at vulnerable people that we need to protect.